This is the Space-Time Navigators Guild Diary, discussing on Universe TV what's going on with me and the Cylons and the first and last cipher and all this stuff. So, what I'm talking about is while I was in trance back in San Jose, um, I had my first 486, in which I set up as a firewall, both inside and outside the internet on the inside network, as a transparent firewall, in which I was using as a gateway for a wireless connection I did between two transfact sites, using a 21 dBi antenna. And the top was the billboard by 101 and transfact to another building on the roof where I was using another 21 dBi antenna and a mile and a half connection, which I was getting uh, uh, Wi-Fi speeds between the 2 points as opposed to $600 a month for a T1. So on that machine and setting it up, I set it up so it would be always streaming audio. Okay, so anytime you could do a live stream and listen to the songs as they were playing. I had a vast collection of music on that machine, in which the other side of the Wi-Fi link were enjoying all of that music playing on the computer. So a vast amount of that was streaming across the Wi-Fi antennas between those 2 points, which were almost pointed exactly northwest. Okay. Okay. So now in there is that machine, after I left Transfac, because it was on an uninterruptible power supply, as well as there wasn't much going on with it, just sitting there on the machine. And after I left Transfac, it remained on for quite some number of years. And I find out that eventually they got in there and looked at the logs, and that machine, without going down with OpenBSD while streaming on as a transparent firewall, became a target of a vast number of hackers to see if you could get into that machine, if you could get into it. So, with that being said, is that when they finally took down that machine, a vast amount of time later, they looked into the computers to hard drive to find in the online logs that I had 7.5 years of that machine running nonstop, uninterrupted without a reboot. And at this point now, it's the longest running machine in which stayed up without a reboot. Okay, so somehow or another, that transmission went out into the universe, in which somehow or another some beings out there got into listening to it. And in the arena of it being sent out so far and out into the universe, the language of Propeller comes into being by trying to understand that the Earth is spinning round and round and round, right? And it's, hold on, this is usually coming. And the concept that, going back, is the concept there of what's going on with language out there in the universe. The language of Propeller is born. And it was found that with the back and forth rollbacks in time, they were trying to see what was going on here on Earth with that streaming thing. And one of the things that they caught was my streaming of audio between the two buildings, some number of light years later, picking up that transmission. Okay, so that eventually gets back these Cylons, and they come here, right? And that's how I watch very intently because I was in the process of making, looking into cryptography and stenography and all these other things, and I was compiling my first I think it's on Sigwin, uh, the cryptography software. It's not, I can't remember, am I supposed to say which? But anyways, in there you have an ability to, when you're creating it from scratch and compiling it, you can create a random seed by using a mouse and other forms of, of random pushing on the mouse and over the keyboard and various sort of parts of it, right? So after completing that, um, I decided to do my first cipher. And I used my name for my first actual digital signature, right? On my name, which you're supposed to do at least one cipher first and not use that one and continue from there. And so when that happened, the whole arena was watching me while I was doing this, and I created the keys after that first day, and that goes all the way up to the Cylon universe, the very top of the Cylon universe, right? As the oldest key in Cylon repositories. Right? Which last name Southport, post Southport, right? So I didn't know that at the time. That's some many years ago. I think it's before that is why I was still with Christina, I think, right? And so, so finding out that the first cipher had those keys are 5.7 billion years old out there in the universe to this present, right? So there's no way that they could possibly be duplicated in any level because of the random seed process. And when that happened, that they've been watching me ever since. So this gets back to TransFac and what's going on there with Propeller and trying to decipher right there. So, read Propeller here, speak Propeller forward and backwards has to do with the fact that the planet's going backwards and forwards in time, sending those signals backwards and then forwards and backwards, right? Which is a time cushion in the whole universe. So this is a FaceTime Navigator skills for this evening. I hope you listen to it and figure something out with it, but I'm just trying to document all of this as best I can. Have a good one. My diary is FaceTime Navigator. And I'm a Grandmaster FaceTime Navigation, Grandmaster FaceTime Navigator skill. You know,